shit. Hi, sorry, does anyone have a bottle opener for the water? Did I just miss one there? Thanks. Complete this sentence for me, thank you. The web is cool? Oh my God, all right. Free. The web is great. The web is great. I hope everyone agrees with this statement. I'm going to make a few statements that I hope and think everyone here should agree with. Browsers enable safe-ish execution of arbitrary code on user machines within seconds. Seconds. And I think we should pause for a moment and reflect on how absurdly cool and useful that is. In the olden days, if you wanted someone to run your code, you'd send them a floppy disk or an email or whatever. But you can run arbitrary code on their machines, and all they have to do is remember your bit.ly URL or whatever and visit that. That's incredible. That means we can share ridiculous cool things and run them on everyone's computer for them. Beautiful. A few examples of things that people have done. 3D gaming is doable on the web. You can get game engines running in browsers. A few years ago, there was a cool Firefox demo. I forget if it was Unreal or some other game engine. You have dev environments in the browser. Who here does most of their production coding in like StackBlitz or CodePen or Code Sandbox, any of those? No one? Can someone just raise their hand so I feel good? Thank you. Thank you. You have video streaming, like Netflix.com is a thing that works. I personally am rather opposed to much of crypto, so I should note crypto mining here has the poop emoji for a reason, but it is kind of cool that you can do that in the browser. Like there was a scare a few years ago. Everyone thought websites would just start running crypto Bitcoin miners for you. I don't know if that went anywhere, but it was a scare. For years, last one, people would say, oh, native apps are always going to be better than the web. You couldn't possibly run something like Photoshop graphics processing on the web. Thanks to web workers and all that stuff, you can now. Take that, C++. That's what I learned back in the day. Web development is only going to keep getting more powerful. We're keeping on this thing. As has been stated, React is pushing stuff forward. All these other frameworks and libraries like Solid and Quick and Astro are continuously improving how we do development. The way that we think about our code, the way we understand, is use effect for effects or synchronization? All these things are getting better over time, which means we can build better and better apps with less and less effort. Thus, the thesis of the talk. And a few things that I think are really exciting to me about the direction the industry is going. We're getting better and better static analysis. Show of hands, who here knows what static analysis is? All right, a few, a third to half. Who here runs their code in a browser? Okay, a few web developers in this room. Who here uses VS Code, or Atom, or Sublime, or Eclipse, or Vim, or Emacs? Any of those? Cool. So you probably have some sort of like linter plugin or something. That's what I work on. Shout out. I think Rust tooling is getting better and better. Rust has become like the way to transpile your JavaScript, which is awesome. New versions of JavaScript are coming out every year now on a cadence, which is constantly making the language better. We have browser APIs like the scheduling stuff that got shown. It's getting better. And as a whole, we're raising the abstractions level. It used to be you have to manually hand massage your DOM to look the way it was supposed to. Now you have libraries and frameworks that do it for you. And one last statement before I actually start my talk, with 23 minutes and 35 seconds left, is I think shenanigans, fun, cool, wacky stuff, is the best, or at least the most fun way to push the web forward. Woo! Yeah. Thanks. It's all fine and good to make money, improve the world around you, fix inequalities in systems and all that stuff. But personally, the thing that gets me out of the bed is doing dumb little side projects. And that's just me. With that being said, hello. I'm Josh Goldberg. I work on TypeScript ESLint. More on that later. And this is a talk about WebXR karaoke. WebXR is a thing that I'm actually going to prep you now. You can do on your phone. So get your phones out. I'll have in a few slides a link for you to go to. But first, I'm trying to get better at speaking slowly during presentations and trying to get better at drinking water. So every 3 slides, if I don't take a sip of water, yell drink at me, okay? Can I get a verbal? Thank you, yes. I messed up. It's been like 5 slides or something. Thanks. By the way, I didn't know there would be a like do it or cheer every time there is a drink. That's a very good call out where Kay just went. All right. So I do want to prep you before I give the link. This is a conference. I'm so sorry to the organizers. This is going to involve audio and video. Something is probably going to explode. It's fine. So go to this URL, bit.ly/Brussels karaoke. I will note this is an old demo code. If you want to see like the new cleaned up version that may or may not be production ready, it's on GitHub. Fine, whatever, I'll tweet it later. But the fun thing is on Bitly. Enter your username, it can be whatever, other than Josh. I know by saying it, I'm ruining it, but please don't put Josh, it just complicates things. And then enter the room. And I'm gonna do it with you. Can y'all see my thing? Yes, you can. All right. So this is a cool little side project that I built or one of my friends built, pardon me, that I then rewrote. It is written in under 2,000 lines of code. In fact, the MVP for this was written in, I think, like 500 or 600 lines of code, including CSS. Yes, CSS counts as a language in code. There we go. All right, I see. Who are you? Hi, Kevin. All right. So I actually want 26 people. My God. 20. All right. So this is a karaoke app, and I only picked 3 songs to choose from. So I'm probably going to choose whatever one I want to, but just shout out, which song should we karaoke together out of these 3? Which one? Moana? I heard Moana. Do I hear Surface Pressure? We're doing Surface Pressure. That's all right. I really like Surface Pressure. I practice it a lot. Oh my God, the screen lag on this. Cool, so I'm gonna ask all of you to do karaoke with me. Are you all ready for this? Are you all ready for this? Yes? Close enough, thank you. All right. My God, I'm clicking the, all right. So just keep in mind, this is karaoke. This is through, why is my audio not working? Ooh. There we go, all right. This is through like a real-time internet demo. 10 years ago, this would have taken you thousands upon thousands of lines of code. But now, we can do it live. Oh. I'm the strong one. I'm not nervous. I'm as tough as the crust of the earth is. That's okay. I move churches, and I glow because I know what my worth is. I don't ask how hard the work is. Got a tough, indestructible surface. Diamonds and platinum, I find in my platinum. I take what's handed, I break what's demanded. But under the surface, can y'all please sing for me? There we go. Do you want to come on stage? No, I don't want to fight Cerberus. Under the surface, I'm pretty sure I'm worthless if I can't be a service. A flaw or a crack, the straw in the stack that breaks the camel's back. What breaks the camel's back is JavaScript. All right. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to... Again, so sorry to the Blue Points people. Thank you, shout out to Dan for excellent singing. I'm sorry, we were going to coordinate something, I forgot. All right, cool. Back to the presentation. Great job, audience, thank you. I also want to give a shout out to, oh my God, y'all are good at this. Woo. It's the last talk of the day, and my goal is to just get as much social positivity. I'm very nervous about who I am in the world. Yeah, give a shout out to Sunny and Codedex.io. It's a site that teaches folks how to code. Sunny is the creator of this. It's the startup he went with instead of karaoke night. I do not agree with that decision, but you know, who am I? Anyway, let's talk about tech specs. How did we actually assemble this in the demo, and how would we assemble what I just did in real life? Because again, my thesis here is that the web is awesome, it's getting better. Things that would have taken thousands upon thousands of lines of code just a decade ago are now doable in like 500. So the first thing is, I'm so sorry to everyone that demoed like Astro and Quick. When I built the prod version of this, I used Next.js because it's awesome. They're all awesome with React. So if I were to build this, I probably might use maybe something different, who knows? For the server side, I used Koa. Shout out, who here has used Express? Who here has used Koa? Koa is made by a lot of the same people as Express. It's like a new modern replacement. They're both great libraries, whatever. Thank you for raising your hands. I then used Socket.io, which is a real-time communications WebSocket library. And of course, shout out my one love in life, TypeScript, also my wife. TypeScript is great, and I use it as a glue to keep the two areas, the front end, Next.js, and Koa connected. I then use TS Node on the server to execute Koa. TS Node is like Node, but runs TypeScript directly, like Dino, but with Node's APIs, so not quite as good. A-Frame is this awesome library that lets you declaratively set up 3D things, rectangles, circles, shapes, whatever, in an environment, which is what you saw as I walked around and saw Kevin. Is Kevin here? Hi, Kevin. Thanks for joining. We, of course, then used TypeScript to network between A-Frame and Socket at dev time, and then used actual networking, a library called Networked A-Frame, to set up that when I move on the screen, you see that my character moves. Those like weird blobs with the two eyes, that's all of us via Networked A-Frame. That's pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to make I haven't even moved the slide. Thank you, though. I'm going to make another statement. The web is terrible. Thanks. So as much fun as I had karaokeing and screaming at you, and then also previously building that, there are a lot of issues with building on the web today. Who would have thought? Nothing is pure good or pure evil. Very few things. React and A-Frame just like don't talk to each other. React and A-Frame both claim to be very declarative, but you always need escape hatches, and also the concept of React isn't really something the methodology and ideology of A-Frame supports, so getting them to work together was annoying. There is a library React A-Frame, but it's no longer maintained. Oh my god. WebSockets in React, you can do it. All of this is doable, but React doesn't have native support for WebSockets. You have to sometimes use a use effect. Oh no, pain. Next.js also doesn't have a beautiful native API for WebSockets the way it does for, say, get server-side props. Oh well. WebVR got renamed to WebXR while we were building this thing, which is like, come on, so annoying. But it's like new and shiny, so everyone likes it. So that annoyed me. And this all brings us to an actual relevant piece of information. I think the faster a platform is moving, the more painful it is to use. Thank you. Thank you for your agreement. You can stop clapping for that, by the way. I'm going to be drinking water a lot. It's who I am. So the faster a platform is growing, the more painful it is to use. Meaning the more that we change the things that you have to use, the more React gets a double render thing which breaks your code, and the React typings break with 18 and all this stuff. The more we advance, but also then the more you have to adapt and deal with it. Shout out, who here has felt physical pain because of the ECMAScript modules migrations? Who here has felt like mental pain over ESM? You can't use Chalk v5 and all this stuff. Okay. So another way of phrasing this is the more painful a platform's growth, the faster it is improving. The more pain you feel working in JavaScript and TypeScript, the better the world is. Great. Ish. Sometimes it's just painful. Which brings me to hope for the future. As painful as it is to be a web dev sometimes, it is fun and great, and the world is getting better. So justifying all the weird, dumb stuff that I've done with like A-Frame and Canvas and all this, I want to give you some ideas for where I think the really exciting growth areas at the meta scale of the industry are trending now and might trend in the future. On the horizontal axis, we have where you run your code or where your code is built. Front ends in the user's area, back ends anywhere from the edge functions running on Netlify or Vercel or whatever to your actual server, and then your builds, the things that run your builds like GitHub Actions or maybe your Kubernetes shenanigans. And I also want to do an axis of how low level this stuff is, all the way up to the really scaled things, the stuff that lets you write huge stuff. Sound good so far? Yay. I might ask, can someone give me a boo? Thank you. It's Halloween month. OK, just wanted to make sure range of emotions available. So on the one hand, one example of primitives we have access to are the React ones. And Solid and Angular and Vue, and basically every UI library has some idea of hooks or failing that lifecycle stuff, components, and then something like context, which lets you access stuff without passing props directly. Most of them have something like this. And we've decided on these, we've come to these because we spent years working in Backbone or jQuery, older things, that as much as we have nostalgia fondness, some of us, for them, were really not good ways to write large modern applications. Like if you tried to write Facebook with jQuery, you would have a bad time. And on the back end, we have ideas like relational data, endpoints, caching. Back in the day, caching was not a solved problem. In the 90s, the idea of a cache was very different from like the Redis-style caching that we use today. TRPC is now starting to eat into GraphQL. That's a whole thing. And then for building, we have TypeScript. 10 years ago, TypeScript had just been like announced and open sourced and everything. Like it just had its 10th birthday. But now, like almost every company uses TypeScript that's more than 10 people. It's wild and beautiful. The idea of a package is different. We finally have actual ES modules in JavaScript, like that, wow. And then ES20, whatever the next version is. And then gluing those primitives together is another exciting layer. And I would posit that as you go up this vertical axis, you get a little larger scale and a little less certain. Things like TypeScript move a lot slower than, say, things like your site frameworks. Like we have a new framework every day now. We're back into that cycle of the dev community. We have site frameworks that, to me, I thought of as front-end, but are kind of more back-end. Like Next.js is going to run on your server. It's not just purely like your create React app front-end. Then in your actual backend, just next to them, you have stuff like GraphQL and TRPC. You have ORMs like Prisma. Who here uses Prisma, by the way? Oh, so good. Don't even get me started. I don't have time. And then for building those things together, the concept of an edge function is relatively new to the mainstream, but it's good. And we've solidified on it. We all like it. Incremental static regeneration, server-side rendering, static side generation. These are all things that have started to settle, that we understand better than we did, say, 5 years ago. Now, the concept of an edge deploy, to me, is almost at a primitive level of when you start to scale your infrastructure and your websites, your APIs. That's like really important stuff. But people treat it like a glue or even a scaling measure. They write once on their local computer and then somehow magically someone somewhere transforms it into a horizontal and vertically scaled app for prod. Okay, good. Good for you. And now I'm getting a little less certain because I don't know these things. I think that we're going to start to see more growth in back-end frameworks again. We've done a lot of great stuff with like Astro and Remix and all this, but like what is the next Nest.js? Like where is that area going? I don't know. I haven't had to build a backend server in a while because I haven't had a job in like 8 months. And then I truly don't know what's happening with site generators and other like large-scaled front-end things. Is Squarespace v2 going to eat our lunch? Will Storyblock and other visual block editors just create an entire website infrastructure that makes Remix look like Create React app? Who knows? But I'm really excited about it. I hope you all are excited too. So one trend is that we're getting cleaner, more expressive frameworks. Instead of writing JavaScript, we're writing TypeScript, yeah. Instead of writing like class components, we're writing hooks and function components, things that are really expressive and let you do a lot with a little code. And then we're getting cleaner, more expressive deploys. I still remember waiting a literal 2 hours for my deploy when I was working in Office to go through and being excited that it was no longer 6 hours for the website to be updated. Who here can remember the last time a deploy took them 6 hours? You poor people, I feel your pain. It was like 5, like almost no one. So a couple decade predictions. 1, better primitives, things are better, and we're going fuller stack as we continue to glue things together better. So that's all the stuff that I'm excited about. So let's just recap everything that's been gone over today. We talked about why the web is great. We did a demo where a few of us shouted Encanto at each other. We did some tech specs. We reviewed like what could go into a prod capable app like that. I complained to you. You all listened and booed me. That was great. And we talked about hope for the future, where all this cool stuff is growing. So if you want technical resources, all the things that I showed in the big infinity symbol sign thing have their own website, except Network Dayframe. That thing's on a GitHub. That's fine. And if you want to support me in complaining more about the web, you should buy my book or sponsor me on GitHub, because a lot of the things that you see here are open source and, unlike React, not sponsored by a company. So please give me money to make the dev experience better. I work on TypeScript ESLint, which is the tooling that allows you to run ESLint on TypeScript code. Who here uses ESLint on TypeScript code? You all use my thing. That's so cool. I didn't make it. I joined 6 months ago. Woo! Thanks. Yeah, we're doing a big docs push now, so if you like documentation, hit us up. Might maybe work with us. If you like performance, hit us up. That's next. Cool. Anyway, we have a book promotion because I also wrote a book, Tweets, Learning TS Book, and React Brussels, Why You Want to Learn or Learned TypeScript. I wrote 3 on this slide because we thought there were only going to be like 5 or 10 books, and then O'Reilly sent us 20. We only have 3? Sorry, we only have 3. My bad, my bad. And there's an example tweet. I'm at React Brussels because I want to learn TypeScript because I'm awesome. Yay. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. I used to work at other companies. Now I'm a full-time open source maintainer, and I'd really appreciate your chatting with me in the Q&A and or in the hallway track because I love talking to people. You can find me on Twitter. Thanks, everyone. I'm Josh.